Ireland is a nation in which poetry, music, and storytelling figure prominently in constructions of national identity. Indeed, the national symbol is the Celtic harp, icon of the ancient bards, the epic storytellers. And notably, Ireland's also a country with a proud history of anti-colonial struggle and diasporic consciousness. As with the griots of West Africa, storytelling has been a central tool of cultural expression and political resistance in Ireland for thousands of years. From the Celtic funk of pioneers' scary era to the revolutionary language politics of contemporary artists like Ophelia and Afro-Irish artists Rusangano family, Irish MCs and DJs have drawn on the bardic tradition and the Irish gift of gab to localize hip-hop on the Emerald Isle. As just one example, on his 2018 Effigies EP, the Cork City MC Spekulativ Fiktion describes our 21st century global condition from an unmistakably Irish position, drawing on James Joyce's stream of consciousness style while riding the hazy, detuned, hiccuping, and utterly filthy beats of County Clare's DJ, Mankey. Although my ears would have instantly recognized Mankey's beats as filthy before I ever knew Ireland, I wouldn't have made the connection to the DJ's name without immersion in both hip-hop culture and Irish culture. For Mankey is Irish slang for filthy, the perfect articulation of a global hip-hop aesthetic performed through a local linguistic practice. That shit is Mankey. Indeed, the name is proof positive that this artist has discovered a filthy hip-hop aesthetic in his own Irish context. Check it.
A scene saturated with raps about other rappers, like the shit even matters. Specs on a good thing, it's feckin' timeless, like the tetrapod footprints on Valentia Island. Sorry lads, no point trying.
Notably, at the end of this excerpt from the Effigies EP, Spec drops an absolutely ill line about his own legacy. While Spec grew up mere minutes from Cork's Blarney Castle and its gab-gifting stone, the effortless chatter that is his Irish cultural inheritance comes instead from farther north and west, the Tetrapod Trackway on County Kerry's Valentia Island, the oldest reliably dated evidence of four-legged vertebrates moving over land in the world. Fossilized footprints made when Ireland was south of the equator and joined to what is now North America. Here, Spec lays claim to timeless and universal excellence via a local Irish footing, so to speak. But in thinking about this gem of Irish hip-hop localism, I was reminded of an old New York classic, Rakim's In the Ghetto, the track that's home to one of the greatest gems of hip-hop wisdom. It ain't where you're from, it's where you're at. And what did I find there? Nothing other than the lines.
People in my neighborhood, they know I'm good. From London to Hollywood, wherever I stood. Footprints remain on stage ever since. Sidewalks and streets, I leave fossils and dents. When I had sex.
Did Spec know the track? Of course he did. That track and its signature "It's Where You're At" line is at the forefront of the pantheon of hip-hop knowledge. But did Spec actually model his fossil line on Rakim's consciously? No. But that's a function of this bit of hip-hop wisdom having seeped deep into the foundations of the culture. Just as every culture on Earth has its own oral traditions, every culture on the globe has its own points of local reference, its own points of regional pride, and its own verbal, musical, and performative expressions of these stories. But as anthropological studies have shown time and again, these stories share many of the same archetypes and structures, centering around many of the same questions that arise from human experience. One of those timeless questions, of course, is, what do we leave behind? That seems to be the focus of Spec's EP, Effigies, a treasure trove of deeply local gems of hip-hop wisdom, like the iconic footprints of Ireland's Tetrapod Trackway.